Hey everybody, it's Steve with Sky194, and I appreciate you stopping by my channel to check out my video. And this is going to be a setup guide for the Audi GT3 car, the EVO. And we're going to just try this again and see if I can do a better job at communicating and just see if we can get a setup for this car. And just kind of go, you can follow along and go along with me, and let's see what we can come up with. So of course we're here at Kyalami again, and I'm in the Audi, and we're gonna take a look at the aggressive. And I already did some laps with it, but as you can see, the aggressive's got a negative 2.5. If you remember the Honda, it was 4.2 to the positive. So this is actually, even though they're both mid-engine, this car's got a lot less weight on the front and more on the back. And of course, you got that big V10 back there. So, you know, a lot different. You know, even though they're mid-engine, still different. But you can see this isn't so jacked up. It's got more. It's not near as jacked up as the Honda is. So this looks about. But see, they still have the wheel rates are still. They got less on the front, which I'll go over that as we go. And of course, they always throw a whole bunch of negative camber, which this car does need a little bit extra, but not that much. But let's see what we can do. I'll just run a few laps with the aggressive, and which I've already done, but just so you guys can see.
Green light. Give it all you got.
I ran a best of a 143.54. Really good for just an aggressive setup. So I mean, not bad. You know, it feels a lot better than the Honda did with just the aggressive. I apologize for, you know, not being communicating clear on the last video with the Honda. I'll see if I can do a better job this time. But it's just having a good time here playing with ACC. And of course, my videos for all the new subscribers come out Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. And if I have extra time like I did this last week, I do other videos on the weekend and things like that, but for the 90% of the time, it's just Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Which I know most of the creators, they come out on the weekends a lot of times.
Car on the right. Clear on the right.
So that way it's a little something different, something during the week. I have the AI at 96 and the aggression at 92. I hope I can do a better job with this video. Plus, you know, see if we can get a good base setup for this car here, so that, you know, that'll be good for everybody who likes running the Audi. Hopefully we can come up with something that works really good. especially when they're real sensitive to coming around. I try to brake in a straight line and then more point and turn type of thing, and not. I don't like doing that. I mean, I'd rather be able to have the doing either way. But you know, when your car is the back end's wanting to come around, that's what you got to do. But I mean, it doesn't handle bad with this aggressive. I mean, it took me a few laps to get it, but I mean, 43.5 is, you know, not pretty good for just an aggressive setup. So, I mean, that's the question, can we find any more performance in it? Can we get it to be a good, something to see if we can accomplish or not? Or are we going to go backwards and go slower?
Yep. This has been your personal best.
143.63. That's real close to what I did before. Really careful through here. Very tap the brake to settle the car, but that's about it. Otherwise, it'll come around on you. Everywhere else here feels good. It feels good through here. And again, it's, you know, running that is not bad for just a standard type setup. Be careful here. Kind of rotates really quick. I've spun a few times there, trying to get it to rotate too fast. And of course, right here is probably the most challenging corner. It's just, you know, I try to straighten, you know, basically brake and shoot there as you're going through there, and I try to go on the brakes, turning it all. Get through here. That's going to be even better.
Well done, mate. Personal best.
143.26. Tell you, this Audi is fast. Tires all look good. They're all a teeny bit low, but nothing real bad. And you know, that's the thing. I mean, you know, you run the aggressive. That's what I did before. So I mean, I know I had a question about the tire pressures. You should get those. You should get those first. Which I'm not saying that's nothing wrong with doing that, but I don't think it's a. You could go either way, just for the fact that I check them on the aggressive first, and I'll adjust them accordingly before, you know, like one good adjustment. But it's going to change as you change the setup. I mean, if you put more load on whatever's, you know, front or rear of the car, it's going to make that tire run hotter, or slide more, it's going to make it run hotter. So, you know, you're going to constantly be adjusting your tire pressures as you go, and as the track changes. If you're doing a long setup change, it's going to change just by the heat of the track going up. So you're going to be constantly playing with tire pressures. That's a never-ending, like a dog chasing its tail. I mean, you're constantly going to be doing that. So there's no reason to, you know, there's no one set tire pressure. It's just if you can keep it in a good range, you know, like right now, they're not bad. They're still. So let's go back to the garage, see what we got. Let's see, it was 143.26. So, you know, tires are wearing really well. Tire pressures aren't bad. Let's go back to those tires. They're still wearing really good. There's the wear bars, 292, 293. I mean, really not that bad. So what we're doing, and obviously running a 143.2 isn't, you know, is not bad at all. And this is a really not a bad setup at all for just a regular setup. So where do we go from here? What do we do to get it to be a little more comfortable, or race friendly, as I like to call it? Again, like I talked about in the other video, I mean, I want a setup that I can be aggressive. I can make a mistake and not crash. I can be good over the whole fuel load, over the whole stint. Be able to change my trajectory mid-corner if I have to tap the brake or trail brake and it not spin out the car. I want to be able to do those things in a race, because when you're racing, it obviously, you know, you're in all kinds of different situations. So what can we do to change that? Well, I try to slow down so I'm not going too fast. I mean, the basic stuff here with me, one, I put this down to 50 liters because I don't need 60. I don't usually always go off of 50 because that can do 20 minutes at least. And then I had a question about this, about the front aero variation. Okay, well, this here is in relative terms. I mean, it's just a gauge. Okay, and I don't know what the weight of this car is, the overall weight. I don't know what the overall weight is of any of the cars. But really, all this is a gauge, is to go by what adjustments you're doing is what the changes are being made. Otherwise, if this was not there and you were changing, I would not know how much of a difference it's making on the car. I mean, weight, I mean, nowhere in this menu does it say what the weight of the car is. So we don't even know what they weigh. And really, it's really, I'm not saying it's irrelevant, but for the setup, it's kind of irrelevant, because basically what you're trying to do is control the rotation of the car. You're trying to balance the car front to rear, and you're trying to control the rate of the rotation of the car. You want it to rotate a certain speed that's controllable on different turns, different variations of the turn. If it's got up and downs, you know, like Mount Panorama, you got all kinds of different things. So depending upon what track you're at, you're trying to balance the rotation of the car to rotate as fast as you can, but yet controlled so it doesn't spin out, and all that. So basically, this is putting the front aero on the car. That's front aero variation. So what's it saying? It's got negative 2.4. So it's got negative 2.4% towards the rear of the car. And of course, that's probably because it's got this big V10 sitting back here. So that easily has the weight back here, compared to like the Honda, that it was positive. I think it was 4.2. Right, with just the stock aggressive, it was 4.2 positive to the front. So, and then of course that's why it wanted to rotate really quick. And of course this car with negative 2.4, as you can see when we went around, it handled better than what the Honda did on the aggressive. but the rate of the rotation is what we're trying to control, and this is always going to be different at every track. You might want a certain rotation at this track and then a different rotation at another track because the corners are different. So this is always going to change from one track to another and from one setup to another. And what you're trying to find out is the good point, but that's just a gauge. And that's what you can go by, and that gives you some kind of base where you can, okay, I changed this, I changed that, and this changed this. Now let's see what it does. And then if it's too loose where the back end wants to come around, well then we need to take aero variation out and put more towards the rear. Okay, if it is sliding and you're turning the wheel and the car's understeering, then we don't have enough weight on the front aero variation, so then we need to put more weight towards the front so the car will turn better and rotate better. I mean, that's in a nutshell, that's what we're trying to accomplish. So obviously the car is turning pretty well at this negative 2.4 right now, so we probably need to keep it real close to that and then try it and then go from there. So let's see what we got here. I mean, all this looks pretty good. I mean, again, like 2 and 1 on the brake ducts, that's pretty much on every car, everywhere I go. I haven't found a need to go any more than that. So it's really pretty much just every single thing. I didn't feel it hitting any curbs, so this is pretty solid here as far as the ride height. And the thing is here, let's talk about this with the rear wing. The rear wing, if I take this out, it's going to make the car rotate faster. So see, it went down to -1. It was negative over 2.4. So now it's -1. It's going to make the car rotate and put more air on the front. So if you're trying to counter that, like let's say you're trying to get more top speed, so you're taking the wing out, well then you got to lower the car to get that back up. See, all the way down, it's still only back up to 1.9 or 1.8. So again, it just all depends on the height of the car, ride height of the car, front to rear. Now obviously I can raise it up in the front and that'll change it. So we might do that. We might just go one click here in the front and that will change it dramatically as far as doing the aero variation. So if we do this in the front with 1, see, then it changes again. Now it's up to -2.8. So now we got more weight on the back of the car. And that means it's going to rotate slower. So that's something that, you know, I would probably do. I'd probably, just thinking about it, I'd probably just go one more and then just to start off with, and then keep the wing at 4 because there's not a lot of top speed here. And let's see what going to that does. And that's 2.6. So again, it slows the rotation down. So let's try that. I haven't changed anything else. I just need to make this a setup. So we can put. Okay. So let's not change anything else and go back. So all we did is change the aero variation. That's all we did. And actually I took some out. Just a teeny bit, just a little bit out by raising the front. Pretty much just raising the front and changing the brake ducts. And of course I changed it. Oh, another thing I want to change is, because it's just me. Now this has nothing to do with, I changed this because I like it to turn faster. But that has nothing to do with the handling really of the car. It just makes it react faster on my end. So let's leave it at that. So I can kind of slow down for everybody and just, I'm hoping I'm communicating this better. So again, I haven't changed anything else. Well, I changed the fuel, but Now I changed the fuel and I did aero variation. I haven't changed the suspension, nothing else. I kind of do enjoy doing more with the car as far as our cars on the track. It makes it fun instead of just running around by yourself. I don't know what y'all think. Makes it a little bit, another little challenge. Tell it's rotating slower just by a little bit, which that's not a big difference, but taking bumps kind of hard. Tires I haven't touched because they're still in the 27 range. That's still in okay. I mean, I'll see how it goes here. I mean, I might go up and it's going to get warmer as the day goes. So we'll have to see how that goes. But I'll adjust them accordingly. Try to get a little bit more aggressive. So obviously this is something that you can do and not touch anything else if you think it's not too bad. Just adjust the aero variation and tire temperatures and all that, or tire pressures. If you think the setup is not way off, for your liking, you can just make a minor adjustment on the aero variation and pretty much leave everything else alone. And we're already picking up already. Yep. Lost it there.
Well done, mate. Your fastest step so far.
Still, it feels a little better than it did. A little bit, still over rotating. I got on the brake to try to get aggressive there, and it rotated a little bit too much. So still rotating a little bit too much. Let's go back to the garage to not waste time. I mean, we picked up a little bit, but it's still got the same characteristics. You still have to drive it the same way. So, I mean, I like the balance here at negative 2.6, and what I wouldn't mind doing is knocking the wing down to 3, but let's try it with that, and I'll put that down to 60. That's as low as we can go because I don't want to be bottoming out. I don't want to especially for right now without doing anything on the suspension. So let's do that. Let's go with new tires. I probably flat spotted those other ones. So they got a new set on there. Because the other ones were the old set still. So let's go back and see what we can do with this. Now, the car should rotate faster because we're only got a negative 1.1? So I have to be real careful because it's going to want to rotate quicker. It's probably going to make the back tires heat up faster because I got less wing on the back and they're going to slide. Really bad dips right there. They just wanting to slide pretty quick right there. Right here is probably going to be really, I'll have to be careful through there. Definitely rotating pretty quick. You got to be really careful with the throttle off corner. Basically just barely touch the brake and that's it there. A little wide there. I can feel it rotating pretty fast. And see, that's the thing, it's rotating and it makes me cautious to where I don't want to push real hard or the car, I'm just going to end up looping it. That's close, but we haven't gained any time, even though I took the wing out. Maybe we gain a little if I get a great lap. See if I can do better this time. Whoa, it's right on the edge. pick up some more. Hopefully, if I can not mess up these corners. Big pickup. Woo!
Well done, mate.
Okay, 42.38. That's a real good time. That's my fastest, and I haven't even hardly done anything. So again, just being smooth, and go back to the pits. Just being smooth, and knowing what the car can give you, you know, and reward you with, helps a lot. And of course, that just takes a lot of practice. Which, of course, I've driven the Audi some, but I mean, not like the Porsche or AMG or things like that. So, but it's just fast. The Audi is definitely fast. Seems like everywhere I take it, I run my best times. Let's see. Let's look at the tires. So you still got wear more on the inside here. More wear on the inside here. Pretty much every one of them. Degrees wise, it's not too bad though. It's only got 5 degrees difference on the tire, 5 degrees there. So I mean, again, because that's probably pretty close. This is more off to me than what it should be, and it shows right here. Let's look at the tire wear. Yeah, it doesn't look too bad, really. I mean, it was just a few laps, though. I mean, that's what concerns me. Is it kind of like super fast and then it drops off real fast? So that's the thing you'd have to, you know, find out on a longer stint. But this is pretty good at the negative 1.3. So let's leave this here and just leave it here and see how it goes. And let's start going on the other side and start changing things. So, I mean, I like it to turn in here because you have a lot of these fast turn-ins. So I always, pretty much every car, and this is what the toe does, the negative toe helps the turn in of the car. And I like it to turn in very quick. So I usually go with that, unless it's a super fast track and I can take it out like Monza or something like that, or Paul Ricard or whatever. Let's just, to help with the wear here, where it's wearing the inside a little more. Not bad though. So it's not way off. So let's just go down a teeny bit. And let's raise the stability up a little bit here. Let's see if that helps. Again, tire pressures were, let's see, they're already getting higher already. They're getting 27, but see, they're equal. And I haven't even touched them, and they're equal. But that shows good wear because look, they're all almost equal. They're all only a couple tenths apart. So really, that's not that bad. So I might go down a couple per tire just to keep it at no higher than, because it's getting hotter probably as the day goes. This track temperature is probably going to keep going up. So here, okay, you get negative 2.5, so that's a lot, but maybe that's because the Audi needs it with the rear end. Let's lower that down to 2. And let's lower this down to 3. There. So, and then we can try it. I'll keep those the same. That's the same. And mechanical. Okay, well, mechanical, I'm going to keep the brake bias the same because that's, okay, let's go over each one. Any roll bar obviously keeps the front, just like it says, it keeps it from rolling. So, especially with these GT3 cars, they're very, very aero specific to where the car is meant to stay a certain way on the track. It's not, if you lean it, if it pitches one way or another, it changes the aero balance of the car. So what we need to do is we need to keep the car solid, and also that changes a lot of different things. It changes the rolling over on the tire, if it pitches, you know, leans left or right. You've heard me say that on other tracks. So one thing I have learned, that they need to stay pretty stiff as far as all that. You want them to move very, very little. So let's go up in the anti-roll bar. And I've had a past experience with the Audi. I've always had it at 3 or 4. I mean, of course, some of them have like 10 or 15 all the way up, you know, the front here. But the Audi is 3 or 4. So let's just go to 3. Go one step up. Leave everything else the same. I won't shake the brakes or anything like that. And that'll help keep the back end solid. That'll help keep it there. Now, with this, also helps with braking and also with rotation with these wheel rate. So again, it's got more wheel weight on the front than the back. Which of course, when you're going into corners and you're on the brakes, all the weight transfers to the front. So we got to find where I might leave this here, but I might take this down a notch. So now this is more equal. It's actually a little less because you can see the number 174 is 173. Well, we can try it just one step. So we increase this. That'll help it from rolling. And of course the shocks are another help in handling, but also with just taking a lot of the bumps and dips and the drastic pavement changes. So let's change those. And see, this is maxed out, so this thing's all the way up here. So that's one reason why it's so stiff in the back. It's just like solid as a concrete. So let's bring this down. And again, I hope I'm not changing too many things, but I'm trying to explain it as I go. I mean, I want this down here so we have more, what should I call it, movement, instead of it being no movement at all. We want the suspension to be able to move evenly, not abrupt. So we're going to try that to see if that helps. Also on braking, we only want it to pitch so much on the brakes. We don't want it to nosedive. We don't want it to, you know, we don't want the back end just completely, you know, going down all the way. That's really good. Preload diff is down that far. That's good. Again, this helps rotate the rear, the anti-roll bar in the back. That helps rotate the rear, and the rear also pitch from side to side, just like that does the front. So one thing I've learned, I've tried to keep these numbers closer to each other, and it seems to help the car. Instead of, unless there's a certain circumstance where you don't need to, but most of the time, a little bit where in the old days I used to have pretty big differences, so now I'm keeping them a little bit closer. Let's just go down 1, and that'll slow that rear end from turning. So we've done enough changes, so let's try it and just see where we're at. I mean, we might be slower. Sometimes you go backwards before you go forward, so. And again, we're looking for a race setup, you know, a setup that we can drive that basically races well. So I'm really happy with the time. I mean, that's a great time for me. Like I said, I think that's my personal best. I hope to do better. And we get it, then we go faster. That's the thing. It's turning pretty quick still. Actually, it feels like it's turning faster, but you know, maybe it's more controlled. So, you know, should need to take it easy on this first lap. Let's get some heat in the tires. I like that too because I get more feeling in the steering wheel. So with the alignment changes, which I personally like, I want to get all the feedback I can. course, in a race, you know, you get aggressive. You're chasing somebody, so you get, you know, I always get maybe a little more aggressive than I do just to practicing. It's still a little harsh, but so, you know, you got, like I said, I want a little bit of leeway in the car so it's not so twitchy that it's going to wreck at, you know, the first time you get, it's first sign of aggression. Feels good. Of course, we didn't change the front springs. All we changed is the rears. Still turning a little bit, maybe too fast. Also, the softer spring takes the bumps easier, so that's another thing. I mean, you go with the softer spring and it goes over those bumps a lot easier, so that's another reason to soften them up a little bit if it's taking them really harsh. And it's still sliding a little bit. This car is a great car, I tell you. The EVO is just, it's a good car. That's another thing. You get behind somebody else, it changes your aero too. So that's another thing. I mean, and you know, you get behind somebody else and you start understeering even more because they're taking air off the front of your car. So again, you're going to be, you know, you want a setup that doesn't totally destroy your handling.
Car on the left. Clear on the left.
Do one more lap. See what we got. And you don't feel bad at all. It's still over-rotating there. Can't get on the brakes. Let's end it there. Still can't get on the brakes. It'll end up over-rotating. Okay. So what do we do? Let's look at the tires. They're all wearing really well. 2.9, 2.9, 2.9, and that's, you know, I look at that because I want something that wears tires so it doesn't overheat one section of the tire, and then after 10 minutes you're sliding all over the place. That's 6 degrees. That's fine. That's 5 degrees. That's between the front, you know, between the inner and outer. That's what I'm talking about. The difference between the inner here and the outer here. That's 6 degrees. That's 5 degrees. That's 4 degrees, which I like. Lately, I've liked the back a little bit tighter than the front. The front can have a little bit more variation because you run a little bit more negative camber than the rear. So before, I used to keep them pretty much equal, but now I don't mind the back being a little less than the front. But especially as long as this number is all equal, 2 9s, or, you know, whatever it is, 2 8s, 2 7s, whatever it is, they're all equal or real close to it. I mean, I like that. So basically, the only thing is now it seems like the front or the rear is still rotating a little too much. So just to not change a bunch of things, let's just, we got this at negative 1.3. So let's go one more in the wing. So now it's negative 2.8. Okay, so that's a little higher than what it was with the aggressive, but, you know, we got a lot different setup with this. We have this here. So that's another thing we could do. You could do the anti-roll bar to keep the front solid. Let's try that instead. Let's put this back, and let's put this all the way up. Again, this is going to help the back from rotating, the anti-roll bar in the front. But we don't want it to make it understeer, so we'll have to see if that works. Let's try that, just to do a quick, you know, not to change too much. I'm trying to not change a lot, because usually I'm just changing this and changing that and go and go and go. But I'm trying to do this so it makes sense. I sure hope I am. So we only changed one thing, and that's the anti-roll bar in the front. That's it. So let's see if it slows the rotation down. It was a little better through there. That's where you get a lot of it right there. So let's, you know, get this tires warmed up. I don't want to start getting too crazy with it. But again, you know, they got a pretty good setup on this, just aggressive. I mean, that's a very good setup, really. I mean, but that's not all the time. I mean, you never know when it's going to be pretty good, and other times it's terrible. I mean, one of the worst setups I ever had was doing that 720S at Misano. I mean, I like that car, but I need to try it somewhere else. But I mean, I literally had to change everything on the car, every single thing, drastically to get it to handle decent. I mean, it handled okay, but it was slow, real slow. So, well, it's still rotating too fast, really. Sure seems like it anyway. So that might have done a little something, but it's still rotating too quick. So let's do one more lap. make sure the tires are, they look really good. Make sure the tires are all the way up to temperature. That's a little better. It still feels like it's winding itself up though in the corner. That might be the chassis flex, but it feels like it's winding up. Close. 42.41. Okay, well, let's go back. It's still rotating a little much, so let's just run back, get back to the pits here real quick, and just do one change. Let's go back, and that's going to take this back to 2.8, negative 2.8, I should say that, negative 2.8. And it's going to put more weight on the back to keep this from rotating as fast. And that's all we're going to do. We're just going to change one thing. See what we got. One thing I am concerned about is some of the, like going over these curbs and stuff like that with the stiff, so the front so stiff, it kind of upsets it a little bit, it feels like. Because it's not wanting to let the front move. Oh yeah, she's definitely... Definitely doesn't rotate near as fast. Still takes bumps kind of hard. Which that'll change the handling a little bit too, but I mean, you know, it's not upsetting the car so bad that it's changing performance drastically. So, you know, I kind of like going after the big things first. time there. You see how that was controllable? I mean, I went in there too hot, but it was still controllable. Where before, it just would have been gone.
Car on the right. Clear on the right. Car on the right. Clear on the right. Car on the left. Clear on the left.
Let's do another lap, see what we got. Tires look good. So another thing I like looking at, I mean, they're not even yellow. That looks like these guys are going to slow me up.
Car on the right. Clear on the right. Car on the right. Clear on the right.
Still rotating too fast. So it's rotating too quick. That's a 143.1. So, I mean, that's not terrible. But, you know, still way off of what we were running. Look at the tires. See what they're doing. See, they're still wearing the insides a little more than the outsides on the front, both fronts. Back here looks good. A 4-degree difference there, 4 there. See that? So that's wearing the insides a little here, but so I probably actually I might go up 1. Lower this back down. Because temperature-wise, that's only 4 degrees. I mean, I don't mind that on the back, but on the front, I mean, that's really more like 5 to 8 degrees on the front. Just because you got to run more negative camber or you lose grip, so we got to run a little bit more. That's 5 degrees there too. So again, they're equal, but still, what the problem is, the back end's rotating a little too fast. So, you know, what do we do to control that? Well, I mean, not a lot, but just a little, and it's still hitting bumps kind of hard. So I don't want to make a drastic change. I mean, this is still pretty good here. I mean, I could add wing, but I really don't want to. It's pretty comfortable there, and I don't want to make a drastic change. I can't go lower here because I'm afraid it's going to start bottoming out. It's going to start upsetting the car. That's pretty much as low as I want to go in the rear of the car. I probably am hitting stuff now. I wouldn't doubt. So what I would do, just to make a small change, and it would help with the bumps. Now we can either do two things. We can either increase the front wheel rate there in the front, like that, and that will help, or we can soften the rear. And that will just do a minor adjustment to keeping the car from rolling, from the rotation, slowing it down a little. Also, what I would rather do is go down on the back, just for the fact that it'll help, again, more with bumps. So I'd rather run a little softer. Maybe it'll take some of those dips and bumps a little bit better. So it kind of kills two birds with one stone, so to speak. So other than that, I mean, I haven't really touched dampeners because, I mean, they're not that bad. I mean, again, that's something that really takes a lot of time to see what works and what doesn't. It's not something that's, I don't think, affecting the car. I've already ran a low, 42. So I would like to see if we can improve upon it. Should be about it. I don't want to do a lot of changes because, so let's go back over what we did. All we did is change this, the wheel rate in the rear. We softened it up. One, to help with the bumps and the dips. And two, to try to slow down a little bit of the rotation. And it should help a little bit with rotation because it keeps the wheel rate in the front from basically transferring the weight, because it should basically, when you're on the brakes, this spring's stiffer than the rear spring. So it should keep it should, again, it's not like a major adjustment like you would an Aero, but it's a minor adjustment. It's like a B adjustment. So that will definitely help. So let's save it. And I want to make, it's not that bad, but I want to make smaller adjustments as we go. So it's one, so everybody can follow along, and two, I don't lose it. So far we're number one, and of course it's going to end this, and then I got a qualifying where we'll go into just a qualifying thing, and we can still keep working on the setup. And like I said, I'm hoping I'm doing an okay job of communicating what I'm doing and what to change when the car does certain things, and that's what I'm trying to communicate. So, and I'll try to go over it some more. So, I mean, if you miss something, I'll try to, go over it again as we go along here. Again, that Aero gauge is just that Aero variation is just a gauge that you can use to measure what the adjustments you're doing, what effect it causes. So, and that's what you can go by to adjust to get the car to react the way you want it to react. And that's all that is for. And of course, what's beauty about ACC is every car is different. I mean, look how much different this is in the Honda, even though they're both mid-engine cars. It's two totally different what they like. I mean, that car was on a positive Aero variation, and this car is on the negative Aero variation. I mean, they tune a lot near the same, but they are definitely different. And of course, like I said, I have it at 96 and 92. So let's go ahead and drive.
Green light. Go, go, go.
We'll see if it changes anything. So all we changed, again, was the rear springs, the wheel rate. And we did change the alignment on the front end just a little bit. Get a little bit more grip, a little bit more negative camber. We get a little bit more grip in the turns. Probably bottoming out. I might have to stiffen up the back and the feels like it bottomed out. Probably because I got a softer spring. But I can stiffen up the bushing back there and get it to not hit so hard. Of course, we got a full fuel load too, so it may get better as the fuel comes off. Pretty good.
Car on the left. Clear on the left.
Wasn't sure what he was going to do. Trying to get out of the way, but definitely taking the bumps better. A lot better through there. Wide. Feels good. That counts for something too, because again, you don't want to be on razor's edge the whole time, and one little mistake and you're wrecked. So again, I like friendly setups that you know, most people I think would like.
Landing validated.
Ah, shoot. It's all right. Let's see if we can do better this next time. It's better.
Well done, mate. Your fastest lap so far.
Yep, fastest lap. Period. All right, staying pretty consistent. Yeah, too deep, too hard. So you find in the limits of what the back end will do. Still running 42.7, so it's still not terrible. Tire pressures are coming up, so it's another thing we need to look at, because of course it's getting, see now it's 35. It was 29, so that's another thing we need to look at. Again, the tires you're going to constantly chase all the time. That's normal. So let's, I'm going to drop it probably a half a pound, because that's all the way around, because it's just going to get hotter. Not so much a half a pound. I'll just go about a few tenths there, because that's already there. But these are all over 28, and that's starting to get, that's my limit right there. I don't like them getting really any hotter than that. In a race, that would be okay, because you're right at the top of the limit for me. That's what I like to keep them more in the 27. So if it depends, like if it's getting hotter as you go, then yeah, you want to I run a little lower, because the track's going to get hotter. If it's cooler as you go, like you start at dusk and it gets night, then I want to run a little higher pressures in the tires, because they're going to come down. So it just depends on what you're doing and what you're starting at. So again, a great time. I mean, for me, I know there's way faster, but I mean, for me, that's my personal best by a long way, and everything looks great. I mean, the tire wear, 2.9s all the way around. You still only got 5 degrees here, so again, that's not. I mean, we can try a few things to try to see if we can pick it up a little bit. Again, I mean, I'll go up one more, try to get the front end to bite a little more. Go back up to here a little bit, see if that will help. And that's just to get the front end to turn through the corner and not slide out, and still keep the tires wearing decent. So let's try that. Again, I want to make minimal changes, because I mean, I haven't even touched the brake bias, and of course that makes a big difference too, as far as mid corner. I mean, or going into the corner entry and mid corner, because let's talk about brake bias just for a second. I mean, brake bias, you know, it says 64. So that means you have 64% towards the front of the car. There's the front. 64% towards the front. Okay. The best handling cars I've seen probably have high 50s that are more balanced. But this is towards the front because the back end obviously will come around. The more you put towards the rear, the faster the back end's going to come around. Now what's good is you want to keep it really neutral so you can use this tool during the race. If the car is getting a little loose in the back, you can back this down. If it's not rotating fast enough, you can use the back brakes to help the car rotate and lower this number. So it'll be like 63 or 62. I mean, I wouldn't do more than 1 point. You know, that's, you know, one, like down to 63, which we could try that, but which I would do then is just to try it, I'll max out the rear wing. So now that's going to put us a negative 4.1. So now we're way down, and I'll knock this down to 63, and that's going to help stop the car because put more brake pressure on the rear, but we have more grip at the back because we put the wing on there. And of course I still leave the springs the way they are. I might increase this a little just so it's not bottoming out, just a little bit, a couple points. And again, that's all it is the bump stop rate is that bushing. That red thing right there is just the bushing, and it's just how big is the bushing and how stiff is the bushing is basically what the bump stop rate and range are. So that's on the shaft of the shock, and when it compresses, it hits this bushing to use as like another stop. That's what that is. So what you're doing is I'm increasing the length of basically how long the bushing is till it reaches contact when you're raising this number here. And of course the rate is how stiff the bushing is. So, you know, the material, is it real stiff? Is it real soft or whatever? So here we go with, again, the brake bias to where I lowered that. I guess we'll start off with new tires again, just because we're qualifying, and I want to see if we can improve on our time. Again, this is just a, you know, again, all my setups are a good base setup. I mean, you still can adjust things and play with things to make it even better, or to fit your needs, how you like to drive. Because trust me, even when I do, you know, like my championship, I'm still messing with them. And of course, they change a little bit from here to there just because of the track conditions. So you're constantly adjusting it just to keep up with the track, whether it's losing grip, gaining grip, anything. Oh, it feels pretty good for right out of the gate here. Taking bumps hard. That's one thing that needs to concentrate on is the dampeners. But it does. It's, you know, I spend a lot of time, which I really enjoy. I like doing, and that's why anybody has certain cars that they like me to concentrate on or work on. I mean, I don't, you know, it's not a problem. Just want to do stuff that people like to see or are interested in. So you say something, I'll try to work on that track or car combo or car feels really good. Well, let's see what it does, because I mean, sometimes you think it's really good, and it is, but it's not fast. So yeah, it definitely seems to stop faster. So I might adjust that. That's just that one, the brake bias, but it seems like it's stopping pretty quick. And that's good because if you got to outbrake somebody, that's important. And I didn't smash the brake, but I hit it there, and it's still. I can actually get more aggressive there. A little wide. Let's adjusted the brakes down a little more aggressive just to see if it'll be better or worse. Again, it'll help it rotate, but control rotate. Now, I want it to rotate as quick as I can, but it's got to be controllable.
Losing time in Sector 2.
Feels really raceable right now. I went in too deep. But I can touch the brake. I'm trying it. Mid-corner, and it's not upsetting the car, and that's what I like. Because in case you're trying to get around somebody or trying to do something, you can touch the brake, or you get in real hot and you don't want to go off the road, you can, change your angle. Yeah, it feels really good by just touching the brake, but I don't want the car to wreck. I don't want the back end to come around on me. Tires look perfect. That feels really good.
Session is now over.
All right, 1:42.02. Fastest lap of the whole event so far. Knocking on the door to 41s. And see, that's a good race setup too. So it's, you know, it's really all the way around. I mean, I'm about a half a second away from second place, but that's still, he's flying. I'm 1:42.57. That's nothing to sneeze at. I'm still flying, and you know, to me, yeah, that's 3/10 there. Let's look at that last lap and see what it looks like. Excuse me, just had to take a sip. Throat getting dry. Again, just looking to see if it's any bad sparks or bottoming out. Taking the bumps decent. It could do better on the bumps. I mean, there's always room for improvement, but it's better than it was in the beginning by far. Yeah, still taking them a little harsh, but I don't see it bottoming out. I mean, definitely that's an area that probably would take a while just to work on, just to get the dampeners to really try to soften some of those bumps up. But the car looks very composed. It's not twitching or pitching to one side or the other. That's what I want to see, especially for a race setup. I mean, you're really wanting the car to be good over the life of the stint, of the race stint. So, next session. So let's go ahead and follow through and finish with the race. Since we come this far, 20-minute race, no pit stop. We'll see how this setup works for the whole race. Of course, now it's 34, so it's going to be getting, and it's probably going to be getting a little cooler as we go. So I'm not going to, I'll probably raise these up a little bit. See, their tire temps are still a little high. I'll probably just leave them the way they are. They're pretty close. As long as they don't get under 27, we're good. Because it was about that anyway, and if they come down a little bit, I don't want them to go down too much. So everything looks good. Again, we'll start from the Aero. We're at negative 4.2, so that's a lot more negative than it was in the beginning. It was like 2.8 or 6 or something like that. So we got less weight on the front because we're going that much faster to actually transfer the weight. So again, we changed this to 56. We changed this to 60. I got the rear wing maxed out at 5. And of course, the brake ducts are always at 2 and 1. Dampeners, I don't think I've even done anything to, which I really don't want to mess with it in a race. But this definitely needs work. This is where I haven't really done anything. And this will make some small minor adjustments on handling, but it's mainly to take the bumps and the uneven parts of the track. That's where it'll really help. The mechanical, of course, we raised this to 4. I'm going to drop this down to 62. So it's even more, but I can change that, of course, on the fly if it's rotating too fast. So we changed that. Of course, I changed the steering ratio to 13. I might even go down to 12, but I'll just keep it at 13 where it was. The wheel rate, of course, is 174,000, and the bump stop rate 800, and the range 7. And we changed all this. And then the rear is 163,000 with the 500 bump stop rate and the 34 bump stop range, which I'll just go up a teeny one click on that to get it a little stiffer in the back because I don't want it bouncing too hard. We got the anti-roll bar at 2 and the diff at 30. So that's, again, we changed all these things. This was at 4, I think. We knocked it down to 2, and that was down at 2, and I think we put it up at 4. So we've done pretty much the opposite. Just like this was, I think that was the same, but, or that was down 1, but this was up more. So we've changed the springs, changed everything. You know, of course, fuel's 50 liters, number 2 brake pads, electronics I haven't changed because they're okay, 3 and 4. And of course the tires at 3.9, and which I think was about the way it was on the aggressive. I did change the toe at 0.15. You could try 0.2 to get a little bit more turn in. I mean, that's something that you could try if you liked a little bit more turn in. Casters, okay. And the toe we changed just a little bit. And the camber is -3, which we knocked down a little bit to get the better tire wear. But other than that, that's what we've changed, all these different things. So let's see how it works in a 20-minute race.
Going double file.
Will it fall off really bad, or will it stay pretty consistent?
Green light, go, go, go. Car on the left. Clear on the left.
They're taking off. Car feels great. Hopefully the tire pressures will be up, which I'm pretty sure they will be. Bentley's an awesome looking car, isn't it? That little sausage is got my number. Had it in the Honda and it's still with this.
Well done, mate. This has been your personal best.
Car is absolutely, just feels great. Of course, like I said, I'm not, you know, on max boil here.
Car on the right.
Ah, didn't want to hit him.
Clear on the right.
I don't want the Bentley to get away. He's already going.
Well done, mate. Personal best.
Beautiful here, Kyalami. Yeah, I don't want to him get away so much that I got to kill myself, burn my tires off trying to get back up to him again, which I'm already having to push kind of hard. Now the tires wear, I might have to dial that brake back a little bit. Because I'm pretty aggressive on it as far as the brake bias. Get my tongue out of my way. You know, I might have to dial that down just some because dial the number up.
Well done, mate. Your fastest step so far.
I'm trying to be consistent. Not really looking for the overall blistering lap. Looks like it's understeering just a little bit. Tight turns. That might be the sway bar. We'll just have to see how it goes with the fuel coming off. Oh man, I laid that way too early. Around a little quick. I think I'm gonna dial back next time we get on the straightaway. I think I'm gonna dial back the brake. Here.
We are halfway through. Keep it up. Well done, mate. Fastest lap of the race so far.
Alright. Consistent. Hard to see that corner right. The sun on there. It's pretty wild though. I messed that turn up. Just didn't take it right. Made up for it there at the last couple corners. Like I said, I'm just trying to keep around my fast lap time, just to be as consistent as I can. A little wide there, a little deep.
Well done, mate. This has been your personal best.
All right. Well, this Bentley is going, I tell you what. Way too, cut that corner way too much. You keep beating me right here real bad, right through there.
Fastest lap of the race, man. Good job.
Getting closer. One more lap to go.
And leader is on the final lap. Give it all you can. Car on the right. Clear on the right.
Right.
Excellent job, mate.
Right.
What a race.
Woohoo!
Well done. Well managed. Bring it back home.
Yes. That was a great race. I mean, that was an epic race for me. I mean, the car ran flawless the whole time. Just one awesome race. Just a great, I can't say it enough. That was so fun. Pushing as hard, hard as I wanted, could. That was just a great race all the way to the end. So let's look at my lap times. Every one of them was legal, and every one of them was a 42. I mean, except the first one, the 43. And actually, here, I never even had a fast sector on my fast lap. I mean, there's a little bit difference there. There's about three tenths there, almost 3 tenths. And that's about equal. It's just a little bit faster. So that's right around that 42 flat, 42.0 that I ran in qualifying. So if I would have put all three of them together, it probably would have been a 42.0. So knocking on the door to the 41s. So again, there's still more improvements to be had, especially in the suspension and things like that, which, again, it's small, minor adjustments, but this is definitely, as far as consistency, it's 20 minutes and all of them within a few tenths of each other, all the way right to the very last of the, very end. So again, let's go back over to setup. And again, we changed, obviously tire pressure definitely changes all the time depending upon the outside temperature or the track temperature. But here you got the toe is negative 0.15 on the front. The camber is negative 3.9. The caster's 13.1 on the front. Again, that's we changed all those things. So the camber was pretty close to what it was in the aggressive. The rear, the toe is 0.2. That was changed, and the camber is negative 3, which we changed that, knocked that down. Of course, the tire pressures are all about 25.6 to 25.8 all the way across, all the way around. The electronics, 3 and 4, I never even touched any of those because that's about where I usually keep them at. Of course, fuel, we had 50 liters with the number 2 brake pads. Mechanical, we changed everything on here to a little degree. I mean, this could actually, I might even change that to a 3, but so far I'll leave it at 4. Brake bias at 62, which I changed to 63 during the race just so it wouldn't get too hairy in the back. And again, that is an adjustment that you can make on the fly, and that's what I use that for. but you want it pretty neutral in the beginning, and then you can go either way during the race to what you want. But again, that is, the brake bias can help the car rotate or not rotate as much in a corner. So that is something also that you can, a tool that you can use. The steering ratio is 13. Wheel rate in the front is 174,000, which I think we knocked up 1. Yeah, I think I moved that up 1. And the bump stop rate was 800, and the bump stop range was 7. The wheel rate in the rear, which we knocked down a bunch, was 163,000 with the bump stop rate of 500 and the bump stop range of 35. And that was, we changed a lot there. Anti-roll bar is 2, which we knocked a lot down there. Never touched the preload. Dampeners I didn't even touch, and that's where the area where we can improve upon and probably gain a little bit of time. Not drastic, small improvements, and also improve on drivability. Aero, we have 56 on the front, which I raised the front up a little bit, and the ride height at 60, which I think I lowered just a teeny bit, and the rear wing I maxed out at 5. Of course, yeah, I got 4 or 5. I like 5, just gives you more stability, and 2 and 1 on the brake ducts. So I sure hope that communicated better this time than I did the last time. And of course, the setup I think is probably one of the better setups, especially for this Audi. It just rails, and just completely obliterating my personal best time, and it was a good race. So I sure hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe. I really would appreciate it. Help the channel, and hit the bell for notifications, and so you can get other videos that come out. And let feedback anytime, comments anytime of what you would like to see or have me work on or concentrate on, so we can always have more interaction and more and have more fun. So again, my videos come out on Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, and I sure hope everybody has a great rest of the week and a great weekend, and I hope you all come back soon. See ya.